Going to attempt to interview Claude McCullough at his residence in Melbourne, Arkansas. It's February the 12th, 2020 at approximately 9:15 a.m. Claude! Yeah. Hey! Hey, State Police. I'm Mike McNeil with the Arkansas State Police.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Come on in.
You have a minute?
Yeah.
Are we here by ourselves?
Yes, we are.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to turn on this light and sit right here if you want.
Okay. There's formalities and everything with this job, so I'm just going to go ahead and start off by saying that this is a non-custodial interview. I'm not, here to detain you, or you can tell me to get out of your house whenever you want. You're not in any trouble. I'm not advising you of your Miranda rights, none of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
This is just a conversation between me and you in your home, and whenever you want me to leave, I'll leave. Okay? This is about the Rebekah Gould case.
Okay.
We're going back through the case file and looking at things that might need to be done, that haven't been done, and all that kind of stuff. A lot of this case, it's going to come down to science, basically DNA and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2004, DNA science was not that great compared to how it is now, right? And just I'll be honest with you, we've had a pretty big break in the case here recently with DNA, okay? And we have collected DNA through, from a lot of the main characters in this whole thing, the J.B. Yateses and the Chris Cantrells and the Bucholtz and all that, right? So our goal is to collect DNA from any male that knew Rebekah that was from the area. And obviously you knew Rebekah and you're from the area, and we've never obtained your DNA.
Okay.
So that's why I'm here. Would you consent to a cheek swab for your DNA?
Sure.
Okay. All right. I've got a consent form here that I'll read to you and
Okay.
have you sign.
That's a bird.
Yeah. My son has a couple parakeets, so. All right. You can follow along with that one, and I'll read this one out
Let
loud.
me get the glasses.
Okay.
Which years here?
So, I, Claude McCullough, authorize Special Agent Mike McNeil, who has identified himself as law enforcement officer of the Arkansas State Police, and or other law enforcement officers and or medical personnel that she may designate to assist to obtain a genetic sample as indicated below for comparison for the forensic evidence as part of the criminal investigation being conducted by the Arkansas State Police. the donor's initials. I've checked the box here where it's saliva.
Okay.
If you can put your initials right there. Okay. And the second paragraph, this form has been read aloud to me and or I have read it to myself. I understand that I have the right to refuse to give a sample or samples and to limit and or terminate the giving of samples at any time. I am giving my consent to obtain this sample voluntarily, and no promises or threats of any kind has been made to me. No pressure or coercion of any kind has been used against me. I also understand that I have the right to consult an attorney before providing a sample. You understand all that? Okay. Just sign right there for me. Put the time down at 9:20.
I think it would be wonderful if we could solve this case. You know, I've heard so much rumors here and there and this and that over the years.
Right. What's the numerics here?
Oh, the address?
Yeah.
1246 Knob Creek Road.
Knob Creek Road in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, this was September 20th, 2004. You remember anything about the statement you gave back then? What was going on in your life and where?
You know, I don't remember much about it. I remember, I was a truck driver at the time, and I remember my daughter-in-law calling me, and I was up in New York. She said, you know, I just thought you should know in case I don't know when you're planning on coming home, but they've got your house up, you know, they're in your house looking for this, that, and the other. I said, okay, so I called dispatch, and I think I arrived home the next day from New York. Anyway, and I believe I arrived home in the afternoon or evening, and then the next morning is whenever I went down to the police station. And I really don't remember other than, you know, telling them that I knew Rebekah, that she had messed around with my son, and you know, that I didn't really care for her because I knew she did drugs, and I knew my son did drugs with her.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't remember saying much. And then, of course, whenever I was going on the truck, I think she would come over and stay with my son.
Right.
I would come in off the truck, and then my son and her both would go somewhere. They didn't want to be around this old man, you know. So.
Right. Do you have anything in your mouth?
No.
No. Okay. If you'll just open your mouth, I'm gonna swab the inside of your cheek.
Okay. I've never done this before.
With this Q-tip. So, you had a co-driver back then, right?
Yeah.
You had a.
I was training for the company. So.
Do you remember who that fellow was?
You know, I've trained so many people, and that's been so long ago, I don't remember who I was with.
Okay. I know it's in the file. I think his name was Roberts, if I'm not mistaken. Michael Roberts.
Oh, that rings a bell. It would have been.
I think that's who that was. Yeah. So, you got a call from your sister.
My daughter-in-law.
Your daughter-in-law.
Yeah. Kim McCullough, which married my son, my daughter-in-law.
Daughter-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
Called while
I was in New York.
you were told you, and that if she told you that police had ascended on your property,
Yeah.
that was going to be on the Tuesday, the day that would have been on the 21st.
Well, now I don't know if she told me. I think what she told me was your house has been roped off as an investigation site, so y'all might have already been on there. You know?
Okay.
And I said, what? Okay, well, I'll call dispatcher and come straight home.
Yeah, well, it probably makes sense that I know law enforcement roped off the property on Tuesday, and it was a working crime scene on Tuesday, so that's probably whenever she called you. That would make sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm sure she found out about this like everybody else did on Tuesday. Everybody knew that police was out at the trailer.
Right.
So I'm sure she called you on Tuesday. And then you came back in the following day.
I believe I was waiting to load, so I loaded up first thing the next morning, and then I headed on back to Batesville Terminal. Yeah. I believe I got back the next day. I know I wasted no time because I wanted to, get home and...
Yeah. And you were using Casey's vehicle at that time?
Yes, I had a Camaro, and it was totaled. And I only had liability on it. Didn't have anything to fix my vehicle. Right. So at the time I was without a vehicle. And I had borrowed my son's pickup to go to the terminal there in Batesville, Dow Transport. And he was going to pick it up at a later time,
Yeah.
But I used his truck to go to work, and then I parked it there at the Dow Transport parking lot until he came and got it.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember who all was living in the trailer at that time?
Oh, there was just me, my son, Casey, and then it was kind of Rebekah would come and stay when I was out of town on the truck.
Right.
And then I would come in and they would both disappear. They would both go wherever they go.
Right.
But it was just us. Well, just me and my son, and then when I'm not there, Rebekah.
Right. So where was Corey staying during this period of time?
Corey. Oh, Corey was, me and his mom had divorced. And so at that particular time, he was either living with his mother in Searcy. Now, he did try to stay with his brother, Chris, which is Kim's husband, my son,
right,
for a little while because...
They're in Mount Pleasant?
Yeah. Yeah, because him and his stepdad didn't get along so well. So he tried to live with his brother a while, and they couldn't, I guess, keep him corralled, He was young and wild and so forth. So he was either living with his mother in Searcy or with his brother in Mount Pleasant in that trailer over there.
Okay. And... Randy, the other brother.
Randy, where was he when all this was going on? I really don't know. I know he was in the service, but I don't know if he was actually in the service during this period. But he wasn't living...
I know he was in Arkansas in 2004.
Okay.
I just don't know where.
Yeah. He stayed with the buddy in Mount Pleasant for a while. They rented a house and both of them paid their share. That might be where he was staying at the time.
Who was that?
I don't know his buddy's name, but I know, you know what? I know where the house is and I can go there, but I don't know what road it's on.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, he might have been actually living with his buddy then. They were sharing rent and so forth, and a rent house.
But he had lived in that trailer too for a period of time, right?
Well, yes. Yes, he had. As a matter of fact, see, all the boys had, because when I was married to their mother, we lived there.
Right.
So.
So you're not the bio dad of Randy.
Randy's my stepson.
Stepson, right?
Yeah. Unless he was, I'm going to say he was probably staying at that rent house with his buddy, which I don't know his buddy's name.
Right. Was he into smoking weed and stuff back then? I kind of heard that he was kind of described as a gypsy. You never knew where he was going to show up.
Well,
didn't know how long he was going to stay, and he's just kind of on the move. Quite.
Yeah. Now they never smoked it in front of me, but I understood that he was smoking occasionally if he was with somebody. I don't know if he was into enough. He bought his own.
Yeah.
But I think if he was at a party or at somewhere, I think if they pulled it out, I think he did smoke marijuana.
Right. Okay.
Of course, Casey did too.
Right. And that's not a big deal. I mean, anymore it's almost legal now.
I'm telling you.
You know.
Yeah. I wish I had more to tell you. I don't.
Yeah.
I've been racking my brain all this time trying to figure out what happened,
So I know Casey is working. He's working at the flooring company now, I believe. Is that right?
Oh, the flooring place, yes.
Yeah. You're disabled. You're at home.
Correct.
Corey's probation pro.
Yes.
And Randy is working at a nursing home in Calico Rock. Do you know the name of that place? Or there's probably not very many up there.
I don't know the name of it.
Okay. Do you have a contact number for Randy?
I think I got his phone number. Let me go get my phone.
Okay.
Because I can't remember nothing. I've got to get it out of my phone.
All right.
Now, right now, I know he's living in an apartment in Batesville.
Mm-hmm.
Randy. Now, his last name's Dyke, I'm sure you know.
Yeah, Randy Dyke.
Phone number 870-321-7562.
Okay. Well, let's see if there's anything else. Just thinking back about what you remember about all the circumstances, and because I remember you were questioned, about how the lock was busted off the back door. Remember that you'd put a padlock on that door.
That door was in bad shape.
Yeah.
I don't remember how it got in bad shape, but I remember that I did have a padlock on it.
Yeah, and that was busted out, and it appeared that whoever did this went out the back door with her.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Did y'all have the key to it, or was the key kept in a drawer, or who had information about where that key might be to unlock that door?
Probably me. And that key was probably on my key ring.
I mean, at that time, it was just, you just kind of made up your mind. You didn't want anybody coming in and out of that back door.
Yeah. Plus, like I said, it didn't shut good. It was just in bad shape, so
Right.
I just put a padlock on it.
And probably kept the key on your keychain.
Yeah, I never had a drawer or nothing I kept keys in, so I'm presuming I had it on a keychain.
Okay.
And once I locked it, I never used it, so
Yeah.
I never had a reason to recall the key.
Right. Okay. Well, let me give you my card.
Okay.
If you think of something, and our memories sometimes they work in funny ways. My cell phone's on here. If you just call my cell phone.
All right.
But
I will sure do it. Like I said, I have thought about it many a day. Exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know whenever we returned to the trailer, which I think was like maybe a day or two after the police left, or the state police left. The kids stayed with me because, it was just kind of eerie things that went on in there for somebody to be there by themselves.
Yeah.
And the kids stayed with me, and I remember I was fixing something for us to eat, and that's whenever I opened the microwave up, and her breakfast sandwich was sitting in there. And so Kim called the sheriff, and he come out and picked the sandwich up. But yeah, that's when we found that sandwich was a couple of days later sitting in the microwave.
So you actually found the sandwich.
Yeah.
And there was a coffee in there too, wasn't there? Wasn't there coffee in a sandwich? Cappuccino or maybe that was in the...
I don't recall it, but it could have been. I do remember the breakfast sandwich.
But you're sure you found the sandwich in the microwave?
Yes, because I was getting ready. I was fixing something for us to eat, and I went to open that microwave, and sure enough, that breakfast sandwich was sitting there. And that's when I turned to Kim, and I said, Kim, call the sheriff and tell him we've got a sandwich here. And I just shut the door, and nobody touched the sandwich till the sheriff got there,
Right.
But
So, what about the piano leg? Who noticed the piano leg missing? Was that you as well?
No, I think I remember Casey telling me that that piano leg was missing.
What was the deal on that piano leg?
It was loose, and that trailer floor wasn't all that steady,
Right.
so you could just walk by it and the thing fall down.
Okay.
So it would just...
It was that loose?
Yeah, it was pretty loose.
But do you remember that it was... Would y'all try to keep it attached to the piano, or would it fall out so often that you would put it on the piano or on somewhere else?
It seems like I do remember that leg maybe sitting on there a few times on the piano itself.
Just got tired of fooling with it?
Yeah.
It was that loose?
Yeah, and see, that was Casey's piano, so I really had nothing to do with it. But I know when I was home, a couple of times it had just fallen down. The leg did. Matter of fact, I might have been one of them picked up and put it on the piano, But,
Yeah.
But that's all I know about the piano leg. And then I remember Casey telling me, Dad, the piano leg's gone. So I think he's the one that actually told me that the piano leg was missing. It was nowhere to be found.
Yeah. Okay.
And this has been so many years ago now. I'm telling you the best I can
Yeah.
recall.
No, I understand. Let me ask you, what do you think on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being very likely and 1 being not likely, where would you put Casey on that scale as being involved with this?
1.
Okay.
Yes. I don't think there's any way he could have done that. I really don't.
Okay. What about Chris?
Are you talking about my children? Is that okay? Chris McCullough. Because I know there was another Chris somewhere in this mix up here. No, my son. No, I don't believe one with him. I don't believe my kids.
And Corey.
No, 1.
And Randy.
1. I don't believe my kids were involved. Now I think that Casey and Rebekah, I honestly, just by the circumstances, I believe they knew these people or this person.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really believe they both knew them. I don't know how well.
Yeah. Right.
Just by the, the no forced entry, and that it's like they probably knew this person.
Yeah. That's what we're thinking too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. What's a good phone number for you?
870-291-1103.
Well, Claude, man, I appreciate your time.
You bet. I'm happy to help you.
Yeah. Well, hopefully science will catch up with this case.
That's right.
You know, I think that's what it's going to take.
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
All right.
Appreciate you.
You bet.
Thanks again. Interviews concluded at approximately 9:40 a.m.